You don't like my point of view, you think it's insane, and you're probably right. Whipping out that intro from Carrie as we get into spooky season. The song, the cover from Blind Melon, was originally in the show Preacher Season 1, an excellent Gnostic themed show if you want to check out, where God decides to quit heaven and everybody is fighting to take over heaven to rule the universe. So lots of demiurges are created. But it's not sane. Nothing is sane, and especially when you come to Aeon Byte. Welcome everybody on this Venus day to our live show. My name is Miguel Connor, and I am so excited to see you today. Welcome to this age of Hermes, this Philip K. Dick world, and these Gnostic times. And it is a Block Friday. So with us, joining us, it's always a pleasure to have the man, the myth, and hopefully an Elvis person. And that is David Block. David, how are you?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you, Miguel. Absolutely. You teach me how to learn Elvis. You and a friend of mine, actually.
Yeah, and he just talked about your friend who's enjoyed the book. So.
Yeah, very much. I bought 2 of them, and he got one of them. He was very happy about it. Thank you.
Good. Listen to our Sophia.
Very nice to be here, of course.
Yeah, always good to see you. And with us, we got the Moondog Vance. Vance, how are you doing?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. As I say,
Elvis
land. Yeah, I'm okay. I can't wait to see what's going on with David's new presentation. So here we go.
The Golem God never sleeps. We may sleep and go to the world of dreams, but he's busy creating his and ruling his mechanistic universe. So we will do that, and good to see everybody in the chat. And as always, if you please support Aeon Biden any way you can. If you have questions for David later on, please super chat them. Yes, as Golden Child says, it is a block party. Lots of puns with this name. And yes, also to remind you, let me whip it out over here now that StreamYard has this QR code. I just put a yeah, right over Vance. Yeah. I just put a new module at the Virtual Alexandria Academy, the Dragon Riding Gnostics, where I go in depth with this very unique sect that was very much into dragons and serpents. I show other snake worshipping Gnostics and how the theme is so prevalent in Gnosticism in general, and how this taps into primordial serpent gods and other symbols that go before time and space even. So check it out again, the Virtual Alexandria Academy, only $99 for more than 30 hours of education. You get the Astronosis free with it. David Block has a presentation. He honored us at our third one. So you can check David Block's presentation there. And yeah, he played a really good song at the beginning, a good heavy metal song, which I don't remember, but I remember jamming to it. And yeah, and so there is a QR code for those of you who are watching on video, or just go to the show notes. And David, you also have some new courses too, right? Do you want to tell the audience about those?
Yeah, I started a new tarot course, and you will find the link in this description of this podcast, I think. And I also start another Left Hand Path course this fall. So I already started it, but it's not too late to join because we record the tarot sessions, so you can be with us when you join us when you can, even though you have missed some sessions live, so to speak. The Left Hand Path course is not recorded, so you miss a couple of sessions if you join us now.
All right, sounds like a plan. And yes, it's on the show notes, whether you're on YouTube, any podcast provider, Rumble, check it out. I've got all the links, and yeah, go learn about the Left Hand Path. So that's really it for housekeeping. Next week we got quite a few shows on the goddess, on the aliens and how they intersect, and we will have Dr. Joanna Kuyava, who will come to talk about her new book, The Alien Goddess. And for those of you who think that AI is demonic, she will make that case. So for those of you on the other side of the AI or that side, you will enjoy this show because Joanna's new book pulls no punches. But that's what we do here at the Virtual Alexander. We present all the different views and we let you decide what to do with that information. It's not Vance or David or I's business what you do with your life, your thoughts. Just, spread, heal, grow. That's all. That's the best we can do in this world. So, yes, David, why don't we just get started? Let's jump right to it.
Absolutely. So, let's open the presentation.
I think it's this one, right? Okay, now
there we go. Thank you, Miguel. Yeah, so we had to quit the last time around. It was take too much time. I'm sorry about that. I didn't see the time, so I just went on and on. I hope I will have a more. I will do a recap from the last time, so you can follow me. Hopefully, still, if you missed it this time around, I managed to upload it at least, so I have more control this time. So I hope I can have a good, precise presentation here. Still, we have a lot of things to go through, and I, of course, do a recap. So we will make good use of the hours we have here. So let's get started. Yeah, I took you to the battle in the Mahabharata epic, the Kurukshetra battle. This was probably fought 5,500 BC. And in that war, you have Arjuna in the chariot with Krishna. and it's a huge battle, and it's between families and cousins, this war. And Arjuna is there in the chariot with Krishna, and Krishna tried to convince him to do his duty, and the duty is to kill the enemy and to win the battle, hopefully. So I want to do some quote from the previous session here, so you will hopefully remember what we talked about. He cannot remain inactive because nature will compel him to act or not to act. All honor to him whose mind controls his senses, because he is thereby beginning to practice karma yoga, the path of right action. Do your duty as prescribed. He who does not help the revolving wheel of sacrifice, but instead leads a sinful life, rejoicing in the gratification of his senses. O Arjuna, he breathes in vain, says Krishna. So what is his duty? What is the purpose for all of this? And of course, there is a deeper meaning behind this battle, of course. And you can view it on different levels of understanding. So please, I will take you to the most deep layers of this understanding, but you have to see this presentation with the former presentation as a whole. I will lead you to heaven and beyond in this presentation. And that is really what Krishna is talking about here. He's talking about two different paths that will lead you to different ends, depending on your choice of action. So Krishna continue on. In this world, there is twofold path. There is the path of wisdom for those who meditate, and the path of action for those who work. No man can refrain from activity by refraining from action, nor can he reach perfection by refusing to act, meaning that you are here in this life to do work. You're not here only for fun, but fun and pleasure is part of it, hopefully. But the main purpose you are here is to work, meaning have a method, an esoteric method to do spiritual practice, to rise up, to transform. Now, that's completely opposite of the scientific idea that you have to wait for the slow grinding process of evolution. And of course, that makes you passive. The truth is that we have to take evolution into our own hand, because the last path, the path we are on now, is about the evolution of spirit. And we shouldn't wait for that. We shouldn't wait for nature to evolve us anymore. We have reached perfection. It sounds strange, but our body breaks down, yes, and we die, yes, and we don't live forever, yes. But there is also a clock ticking, reminding you that you are not here forever, and that you should start to work and do some gym training in the metaphysical gym, of course. In the second part, we talked about the ancestral dead, about our cousins who lived during Atlantis times, and they were more powerful than we are now. But with the work we are doing, we also gain wisdom. There is a reason why you have to work for your power. When you work, when you go to the gym and lift the weights, the spiritual weights, you also gain insights and understanding of the path you are doing. If you get everything for free, then you will lack the wisdom you need to go with your power. In other words, you start to abuse the power you get because you lack wisdom in your power, with your power. And it's with our ancestors during Atlantis time. Doesn't mean that all of them was corrupt or bad. As always, there were good people and bad people, but the bad people started to take over the Atlantis during the Atlantis time and in the end of Atlantis time. And they was very powerful, had powerful technology, and they started to turn against the god, for example. And this leads to a war in heaven. And we have all read about it in the Bible. The war in heaven is a big thing in the Bible, of course. In our mythologies, like the epic of Mahabharata, we read about profound technology in combination with very powerful entities like gods, demigods, humans, angels, demons, and so on. This war in heaven was a real thing, fought with technology and with a lot of power, esoteric truth. We had something called the cherubim, and this cherubim, God put up a cherubim in front of heaven, and it turned it had a flaming sword that turned each way in each direction, keeping people out from heaven. Heaven was closed, and God put this cherubim up in front of heaven. And people think that the cherubim is an angel, but the cherubim is a matter of fact, a technology. Some would say an UFO, but it's more like a mainframe in a UFO. It's more like a machine you can move from a UFO or have within a UFO. In other words, what it says, the Bible says here, is that God put up a machine in front of heaven, and it had eyes, thousands of eyes looking in different direction, and it was technology that could morph, keeping you out from heaven like a sword. And that is very important to understand, because if you read the Bible and believe that, or if you read the Bible and take out the technology part of it, there is a complete different reading. If you read it with technology and understanding that that the Bible is first and foremost about the time after Atlantis, and it is about the technology that still remained after the fall of Atlantis, and the battle for this technology, the abuse of this technology, abusing, keeping people in darkness, abusing, controlling people, abusing, convincing people that you are God and they are not, an abuse that tells people that you have to rely on some kind of a God. The title Elohim is a god, but it is more likely our cousins playing the gods, pretending to be gods in order to control us. And with the technology that remained after Atlantis, they could appear as gods for the more primitive people. You can view them more like the elite priest class under an Elohim. So you had an elite priest class under Jehovah, for example, acting out Jehovah's will here on earth. They were there executed. They executed their plans and what they wanted to have done here on the material plane here on earth, and convinced people that they were the gods, made them very powerful and easy. They could easily control other people to do their bidding. And it was war for territory, war for human assets. These Elohims divided up humanity between them. Like, this belongs to Jehovah, this belongs to Baal Haman, and they divided up the humanity and had wars going on, wars over territories. The shadow division in part 3, we were talking about a void as well. So it was a void, they put it up a void, a threshold. It made it hard for people to ascend through metaphysical work or spiritual work. These cousins of ours, the Elohim, had become very powerful, so they wanted to keep them out from reaching out too far out in heaven, so to speak, or in space, keeping them here, or made it very hard for them to ascend. So it was a veil, a threshold was created. And you can call that threshold the demiurgic control matrix. In the end, the demiurge took over that sealed off space, we can call our solar system, leaving us under demiurgic rule and also keeping out our old gods, our ancient gods, keeping out chaos and taking over this part of the heaven or space. The surviving Atlantean elite, not gods, they are not gods but Elohim, our cousins. But there are gods as well. I want to point that out. There is a force that is not humans, but this Elohim is the elite priest class under these real gods. But in the Bible, they call them the Elohim. And if you believe the Elohim are the gods, you miss the points. You can view the Elohim as the elite priest class under a certain god. So you have an Elohim under Jehovah, for example. Not all are evil. It is not black or white. Different factions have different ideas. And this is, of course, very important to point out, because you have the Titans and the Olympian gods in the Greek mythology. And of course, there have been infiltration, manipulation of the truth. So some of the Titans are more like the Olympian gods, and some of the Olympian gods are more like the Titans. So you have to be very careful here. But I want to make it easy for you today, and try to make it a more easy to grasp understanding of it. But of course, it's not this black or white. And we will see if I can dig deeper, even deeper into that truth. But it is about technology, control, and manipulation after the Atlantis period. And of course, not all so-called elite are evil as well. But a big faction of them, and I believe that some of them hide in caves and tunnels and so on after this destruction, after this upheaval, and they took some technology with them. And the idea here was to start or kickstart a new civilization again, to build the infrastructure back and have us doing their bidding for them. And if they can convince us that they were gods, it would be an easier task for them to gather people around to create this infrastructure. We're talking about the grandfather, the Noah, and the myth in the Bible, and of course it's more than a myth. But of course, it's a very hard to pinpoint when the flood happened, when Noah happened, and we have different ideas about it. Is it the flood created after the downfall of Atlantis, or did it happen like 2348 BC, or did it happen around 3000 BC, or did it even happen 5500 BC? It has been many floods. It's very easy to confuse them together, and it's not easy to say what is what here. But we have different dates, and there are probably floods in different time and period of our history. But you can decide for yourself. It doesn't matter really, because what they are talking about is a recurring archetypal event. Are they separate floods, or are they the same? Are they connected? Natural phenomena or created technology? According to me, you have to add this technology to this natural phenomena because you can create natural phenomena from technology. You can use technology to aim nature against someone. For example, today they use technology, weather modifications and so on, and use it against us. This title, Nimrod, this is very misunderstood, and you have a positive interpretation of this character and you have a negative interpretation, and that is very important. Once again, nothing is black or white, and a lot of infiltration, manipulation have happened here. But you have the positive understanding of Nimrod. Some see it as a straightforward description of Nimrod's strength and prowess as a hunter, highlighting his skill and influence. In a more negative interpretation, others interpret from the 1st century onward, viewed before the Lord as signifying opposing to God, essentially meaning in defiance of God or against the Lord. This interpretation linked the name Nimrod with the Hebrew word meaning rebel. Additionally, the idea of building the Tower of Babel is sometimes associated with Nimrod, further solidifying the negative connotation of his actions. And we have to ask another question. If you are an esoteric person, what do they mean by opposition to God? What God are we talking about? Is he opposed to the demiurgic rule? Is he opposed to the creator, so to speak? So it's many layers and many questions. And I can give you my answer in the end of this. But it's very complicated. And it's very easy to go astray. We were talking about Noah as a character. And Noah, if you read as a Christian, you believe that Noah was a perfect man. In the Bible, it says Noah was a perfect man for his age. That doesn't mean that much either, because in the Lurianic Kabbalistic understanding, the age of Noah was very corrupt. So Noah was better than the rest of his age, but he could still be a flawed individual. And also, another understanding is that Noah was a Nephilim himself. Then you have to ask the question, who were the Nephilim? If Noah is a Nephilim, then who are Nephilim? Are they bad? Are they good? Many questions, and there are no easy answers. I will give you mine. When I started to work with Lucifer, or when Lucifer came to me the first time, he awakened me with a harsh awakening, you can call it if you want to. He sent me the raven of dispersion. And the first scene he showed me was from the Old Testament. And he showed me Noah. I was on board on Noah's Ark. And he showed me that you shouldn't go with Noah to land, but you should push forward into the metaphysical. Don't take matter, don't take land, don't go with these people, but push further into the metaphysical. Go with the raven, don't go with the dove. Don't fool yourself. On the other hand, if Noah was a Nephilim, we have one answer in the Gilgamesh mythology, and we ended in that part, the chapter with Gilgamesh coming to heaven and met Noah in heaven. His name was Yunapishkin, but it is the same character. So we will have to understand. We can understand why Noah was there if we understand he was a Nephilim, and I will come back to that. Now, what Lucifer wanted for me was to go from Arab-Sarak to Thagirion, or straight forward on the tree of death, pushing me further into the metaphysical and into the dark tunnels. And of course, Cliff of the Tree is a lot of shadow work, facing yourself, transform the programs within you that holds you back to go forward or push yourself further into the metaphysical. All the programs within us that holds us back from doing the work or progress. And that is dark work, because a lot of program phobia, traumas is the thing that holds us back. So you have to be willing to see it in front of you, but not only see it in front of you, you have to transform it also. If you only see it and doesn't do anything with it, you will not transform it. So you have to be willing to see all the darkness and then work with it. So it's quite rough work, no question about it. And it is not for all. You have to be prepared for it. And you have to do it for the right reasons, right? Otherwise, you will only gain power. And it's very easy to go astray with that power if you don't have the right intention. The Nephilim is maybe one of the most understanding concepts within the esoteric movement, I would say. And it's a divider. So who were the Nephilim? That question is so important to understand. Now, if the Elohim is our cousins manipulating us to do their bidding and want war, strife, hardship for territory and power amongst themselves, and the Nephilim stood up against them and the people they manipulated to do their bidding, then the Nephilim is not the evil ones they try to convince you of that they are, but rather a race of humans who were more powerful than we were, and they were able to stand up against the false light, the false manipulation under demiurgic rule. Because the Elohim, our cousins, was the elite priest class under a certain god who were then under the demiurge rule. The Nephilim was an upgrade to withstand the manipulation we all have fallen for. The manipulation that we should serve this machine, we should serve this agenda. Therefore, the first task the Jewish people was given was to exterminate the Nephilims under a certain Elohim who were under a certain god under the demiurge rule, because the Nephilim was a threat to them. It doesn't mean that all Nephilim was nice. Some of them was manipulated. Noah was one of them. So Noah, I talked about Noah in the former presentation, raped the son Canaan. You can view it as a physical rape if you want to, or you can view that as an act of betrayal. He let the Elohim and the god and the demiurge have access to the rest of the Nephilim, who they started to exterminate after the flood. Because Noah was tempted by heaven. He was given a choice to leave his fight, all his strife, all his burden, and go back to the false light, who he thought was the real light, was the heaven. If he would give access to the rest of the Nephilim. And after the flood, the war, the extermination of the remaining Nephilim started, meaning that he was the one who gave them the key to the rest of his kind for the price of heaven, or for the gift of heaven. And Gilgamesh was one of them, right? And therefore he started to search for Noah. He wanted to have some answers, and he searched for eternal life and so on. And we will go to that. One of the last Nephilims, for example, was Achilles in the Trojan War. And Achilles could not be stopped, or almost not be stopped. And he was like a tragic hero the demiurge used to destroy the last stronghold from Atlantis time. So not all Nephilim are good. They can be manipulated to do their bidding, but it's harder for them to manipulate the Nephilims. They were harder to manipulate than us. So we talked about the Enki machine, and the Enki machine is the Giza pyramids on the Giza plateau. One of the reasons for these pyramids was to stabilize the crust. A pole shift had happened. The Demiurge wanted to destroy the Atlantis, and he used the moon to destroy it. He shifted the position slightly of the moon, and the crust of Earth shifted, a pole shift, and then the waters and the chaos and the destruction, meaning he used technology in order to have a natural phenomena happen. But it was caused by a technology from the moon. Therefore, technology is at play. Enki tried to build the pyramids on Giza Plateau to stabilize this crust and stabilize Earth, so you can start to create a civilization again, to build it back. That was one of the purpose. There were much more. His temple was called Apsu, as Enki was believed to live in Apsu, an aquifer from which all life was thought to stem, in Eridu. And Enki was the god of science and magic, but also art and creativity. And that is very important to understand, because that's the reason why I start to love humanity, because people like us, or hopefully people like us, we have a creativity within us. We have a soul, a spark. We want to be creative. We have fantasy, imagination. We want to create something new, beautiful music, hopefully. Not modern art. I have to talk about real art. Not all modern art are bad, but you know what I mean. Beautiful art. And there is the key why he started to love humanity, because he also liked art and creativity. Therefore, he saw something within the human race the other didn't see. And he became the rebel against Enlil, for example, who view humanity only as an asset to use, abuse, and suck clean of energy. Marduk Zeus was his son, but this Marduk Zeus was not the nice son. He fell from grace and became an enemy to Enki. And you can call him both Marduk and Zeus. That's the same character. Some would put in Enlil with Zeus as well. That's not completely wrong. So please, this is not black or white. You have memory and you have Mnemosyne. And Mnemosyne was the wife of Zeus. And Mnemosyne means memory. And Mnemosyne and Zeus had 7 daughters, the Muses. No, sorry, maybe 8 daughters. Sorry, 8, I think. They were the Muses. And of course, the Muses was about art, poetry, creativity. Therefore, if you kill the Muses, you kill art. The art, the creativity process within humanity. So the Muses was about science, art, poetry, memory. And even though they were the daughters of Zeus, they are more, and Marduk, they were much more in par with Enki. The idea is much closer to Enki's vision, the Muses. The one who gives you inspiration, insights, genius spark of creativity, to be able to see something that is not born yet, to be able to see that it can be something more than matter, that you can become something more. All of that is so important. And that's the reason why many science fiction movies is about that. If they kill your spark, your soul, your creativity within you, if they manage to convince you that you are only matter, it's over. And it is also about water. Water in Hebrew is the Hebrew letter mem. Mem is water. And water is memory. Therefore, you see these muses, the water sirens and all of that, the creativity, the memory, the emotions. Hopefully, creativity creates emotions as well. If it is good, you feel something for it, I hope. If you don't, you should try harder, I guess, if dark is good. But if you see a beautiful...
Did I freeze or did David?
No,
freeze?
I think David's
Did
having
you disappear?
Okay.
Yeah, for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, transatlantic network interruption. Please continue.
My slide disappeared as well. You have to put it up again.
Let's see. Well, we see it, unless they're not on it, but
Oh,
we see it. Yeah, we do see it on the
Yeah.
screen. The audience does see it.
I don't see it. Oh my God, what happened?
Oh, it must have been your computer. Yeah, we see the slide with 2 eyes. Slide number 18.
I just see it down in the... What's going on now?
No, I guess Sunshine is saying no, can't see it. Just see the pyramid. Oh, so you can't see it. All right.
Oh, wait.
Let me remove it and put it back. So it is. Okay. Where is it? Okay. Now it's back. Did you guys see it?
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thanks
No,
to the audience for letting us know.
Now it's gone again.
All right.
Oh, yeah. It disappeared again. I'm monitoring the YouTube channel.
That's weird. I see it. Here, I'm going to remove
Well, yeah, we can see it in StreamYard, but it's not going out in the streaming.
Oh, gone again. All right. Do you want to add it, Vance? Maybe it's on my end. I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to add...
All right.
Okay.
Do you guys see it?
Now I see it again. Now I see it again. For now. Oh my God.
Okay, it's up.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Sorry about that. Now it's gone again.
Tech Archons, it's not you.
Now it's gone again. Okay.
Chevron with Techron.
Yeah, now it's gone again.
Oh, no, what's going on here?
Well, Vince, do you want to pull up the other one where the other slide where the gods are and see if that works?
Let's see.
And maybe
17, right? Yeah, I'll get it. Okay. There we go.
Can you guys see it? Well, can you see it, Vance?
Yes. Let's see. I'm waiting to see if it. Yeah, it's up. It's up on YouTube.
All right. Well, Vance, can you do the slides then?
I can.
I don't know if David can do it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Or what would the Beatles? Thank you. What are the Beatles? I can't do a Liverpool accent. Forget that.
Is it holding me pocket?
Yeah. Dick Arkins. No. All right. We'll continue, David, and just let Vance when you want to change the slide.
Now it works again, so let's hope. No, it doesn't. Yeah, change slide.
No, yeah, okay. Here we go.
Yeah, change one slide. Oh
my God. Yeah, you're on slide 20 with the pyramids. Can you see it?
Yep.
It's up on YouTube. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, next slide.
Roy Batty.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah, and we talked about the new discoveries under the Giza plateau as well. So you have a couple of scientists who scanned the ground under the Giza plateau and discovered tall, like a tube-like structure going into cube-like structure, and they are huge, like 210 feet tall. And of course, they try to convince us that this is not real, and now it's sort of on its own. And they try to convince us that this is not there and so on. Of course, it's ridiculous. But the pyramids is Enki's machine of water and fire. So you have tubes pumping up water, and maybe it vaporizes it into steam or resonate, or it's just it's a huge machine, right? And this is nothing new. In the Sumeria, you have the ziggurats, and it's the same function, but the Giza plateau pyramids are much more powerful. And they were created by Enki right after Atlantis, right after the fall of Atlantis, 10,500 BC. They were taken over and changed. The purpose for the pyramid was changed. For example, if you have a mobile phone, you can add and change the purpose for the mobile phone or add stuff to it. And this was the case for the pyramid. They were all taken over later on from Enki by Marduk for a different purpose entirely. But one reason for them in the beginning was to stabilize the crust after the pole shift during end of Atlantis period. Yeah, next slide. We were also talking about this Elohim. In the Bible, it says that Elohim, yes, they lived a long life, but they did die. They didn't live forever. And if you don't live forever, you are not a god. One thing I think God should have is eternal life, like a spirit that cannot die. Maybe their body breaks down, but they still lives on in spirit and have their memories intact. We are wiped clean, right? We live forever as well, but we are wiped clean and we take on a different identity when we come back. But God never loses his identity and continue on. But this Elohim die. Next slide. It says in the Bible that, and Lord Krishna, this is not the Bible, this is another book, but, and Lord Krishna, Lord Elohim Krishna died in 3102 BC. Krishna was at least 2,500 years old when he died, but closer to 3,000 years old. Do not be under any illusion. It is true that you are Elohim, but you will die like all the Adams. Meaning they were not gods, but powerful beings. Serving under an Elohim, serving under a god, a real god. Yeah, next slide. We have the Sumerian King list, and in that list you have people of whatever they were living a very long time. Beings, humanoids, or who they were is up to you. But after the after period list explicitly mentioned the flood swept over, and then kingship had descended from heaven, and this is a long time ago, the Sumerian king list. Then they mention some kings in that list living for over 10,000 of years, like Duranki of Simber, 21,000 years. And this is the mythical period after the flood, or before the flood, sorry. Okay, now next slide. In part 8, we talked about spindle of necessity and how the elite have found out a way how to reincarnate back into their own family line, and how they go along with their fate under demiurgic rule. They have come to the conclusion that this reality had ended up under demiurgic rule. They wanted to align with the demiurge and because of that get some reward from their for their service. One of those reward was remembering reincarnation when they come back, so they can continue their work in the next life, so they can continue plans for hundreds and even thousands of years into the future. Their plans was not only one lifetime, but many. Yeah, next slide. In the theogony from the Greek mythology, you have these 12 titans. And these titans was waging war against the Olympians. And some of these titans was Oceanus, Queus, Creus, Hyperion, Iapetus, father of Prometheus, Atlas and Helios, Kronos, and their sisters, Thea, Rhea, Themis, Mnemosyne. I was talking about Mnemosyne, and here you have a titan in the Olympian line, right? So Mnemosyne end up with Zeus, for example. So it's not like black or white here. And we have Phoebe and Thetis. So it's not a clear cut between good and evil here. It's also something in between, a gray area. Mnemosyne ended up like indifferent or didn't choose side. Next slide. In the Titanomachy, you have this war between the Titans and the Olympians. Oceanus remained neutral and did not fight against the Olympian gods. So here you have another one who didn't choose side. But Hyperion ended up in Tartarus after the war, after the defeat of the Titans. Iapetus ended up in Tartarus after the war with the Olympian gods. Atlas was doomed to hold up heaven after this war. Prometheus was chained to the Caucasus mountain. Kronos ended up in Tartarus after the war. And the sisters, Mnemosyne, she was one of the Titans who either aided Zeus or remained neutral, allowing her to retain her position and freedom after the war. So so it's not like a black or white war here. The next slide. Of the soul and the doctrine of reincarnation. Reincarnate back under demiurge rule. Now, if you sell your soul to the demiurge and do his bidding, and some of the elite family have done that, you have access to your earlier memory, your earlier reincarnation. Therefore, you can continue the plans of not for one lifetime, but many lifetimes. You can plan hundreds years ahead or 1,000 years ahead and have an idea where you want to go. And then you continue your plan when you come back in a different reincarnation. And you reincarnate back into the same blood family and continue your family's mission. Zeus gave Kronos a stone to swallow. And maybe that's a symbology for giving him part of himself. They sacrifice a part of themselves to end up under demiurge rule and have some benefit from that exchange, of course. Now you have different paths to take. Your aim can be to end reincarnation circle and go back to source, to leave this demiurgic prison we are in. That's an idea many people have. That's the right-hand path, of course, in an esoteric practice. The idea is to leave and go back to a spiritual state of being, never to come back in body again, to become one with the Creator. But what happens if heaven is closed? What happens if heaven is controlled? What if that's a trap in and of itself to aim for the light? How do you know that you leave if this demiurge have created a matrix within matrix and fool you to go towards the light, and then they have you trapped again? Meaning that the one who start to wake up have to see through that lie as well. Otherwise, the demiurge will just trap them, the warriors, and they will not come back here again. And he have done away with the warriors, with the metaphysical warriors, fool them into another false prison, false heaven, a false light. And in Arthur, the legend of Arthur, for example, they have this Camelot, and Camelot means bent light. Meaning that Arthur knew that this light was false, meaning that he wanted to bend the false light and be under protection from this false light, not to be fooled, manipulated, to be sharp as a sword, to be sharp as a warrior. We talked about Michael, the archangel, and he's the anointer, he's the messiah. No, sorry, he anoints the messiah. So before you went to heaven, in the Bible, Michael anoints you in order for you to have access to heaven. Maybe it's a cleansing process before you can enter. If you go into technology or some powerful tools, maybe you have to cleanse your body. You are now Christed, cleansed before this ritual to go to heaven. Therefore, Michael anoints you and sends you off to heaven. But where is heaven? Heaven is Aldebaran and Pleiades. And you see it in Mithra worship, where Mithra killing the bull. The bull is protecting heaven from you, or keeps you from heaven, or keeps the one who are not anointed, who are not Christed, from heaven, keeps you out with the flaming sword and the cherubim. Therefore, the bull is a symbol for the cherubim. Therefore, the bull is not only like a sign, but also a sign of a machine that keeps you away or fool you into a matrix within the matrix. If the machine allows you have access to heaven, then you have to convince the bull, the Aldebaran, the machine to let you in, and you have to be Christed if they allow you in to have access to this false heaven. Yeah, next slide. Another option is a left-hand path option, of course, and that's the Vama Marg left-hand path, and left-hand path is from India. And the Mahabharata, we will follow Mahabharata from here on with the left-hand path in mind from that perspective. It is about see through all the illusions, to see through all the propaganda and manipulation, and to take the road into the darkness where the light cannot see you. That is to say, to take dark tunnels where the false light of the warden, the demiurge, doesn't see you, cannot manipulate you, but you can be fooled anyway, because of course they have manipulated, they infiltrated the tunnels as well, at least the beginning of them. But it is the only way, according to me now, but I will talk about it later. But there are even risks there, and it has been infiltration even there. So if you start the left-hand path, you have to know what you are doing. You have to see through the false light that penetrated the ground and even sipped through into the tunnels of the Nephotic tree. Next slide. So we talked about the epic of Gilgamesh. And in this epic, we follow Gilgamesh. And Gilgamesh is a Nephilim king. And in the beginning, it says he was like corrupt. He didn't do what he was supposed to do as the king. But he get a company from Enkidu, from Enkidu, a wild man who followed him. And they became best of friends. And on their journey, they killed the bull of heaven, of course. And what Gilgamesh wanted was eternal life. He searched for eternal life. And Enkidu can be seen as Sirius. And Sirius is the beacon of the rebellion, or the light of the rebellion, from the false light of the warden, the Demiurge. Therefore, Enkidu was the one who tried to convince Gilgamesh to kill this bull, this Humbaba, because the bull of heaven has to be slain, or has to be penetrated, or has to be analyzed and understood. Next slide. So the Gilgamesh epic is a very old one. It's the Deluge tablet is the 11th book of the Chaldean epic of Gilgamesh, dated 2200 BC. The person known as Gilgamesh is called Nimrod, the builder of the original city of Babylon. And now you have to decide, if Gilgamesh is Nimrod a bad character? Is he evil? Is he a good character? Did he exist? I would say yes to that. He was a Nephilim. But this building of the city of Babylon is also it's not easy to dissect. So I will not go into it deeper here today. But Gilgamesh was born between 2900 to 2350 BC. Though he became a major figure in the Sumerian legend during the third dynasty of Ur, 2112 to 2004 BC. And he was born in Uruk. And this city of Uruk had existed in the Tolkien fantasy tale. Of course, you have Uruk-hai and so on. But you have to understand that Tolkien had some profound knowledge to share with you and decoded in this fantasy novel. But he was also colored by the Christian perspective. So you need to have that in mind. Next slide. He who saw the deep. So in the last episode we did together, we ended up with Gilgamesh part 9. We followed him to heaven, and he went into heaven, and he wanted to see if he could have eternal life. And he was tricked into heaven, and he had help from a boatman to meet Unapishkin. And when you understand that Unapishkin and Noah is the same character, this confrontation is so interesting and so deep. I don't have time to go into it now, but what happened is that when Gilgamesh see Unapishkin in heaven, his heart is almost broken, because he understands that this Noah character have turned on them and sold them out. for a place in heaven. So the answer Gilgamesh have inside him here, this is not in the epic, but this is how you have to understand it, or how you can understand. Let's say it like that. You see Noah, and he doesn't understand why Noah is there, but then it dawns on him that Noah have sold them out, the Nephilim, for a place in heaven, and that he is not welcome there because he is not as corrupt as Noah. Therefore, he is kicked out of heaven and he has to return to earth, and even more devastated than before, because now he knows the truth that Noah had turned on them, and that heaven is not a real paradise, a real heaven, but rather a place that rewards betrayal, rewards people who do the Elohim's bidding. They are welcome in heaven, but he is not. And he doesn't want to be there either, because he understands that this is not the real light I've searched for. I was fooled. I was tricked to walk towards the false light of the Aldebaran and the Pleiades. And then his life force is spent because his heart is broken by the betrayal, and he doesn't have any strength left in him to search for the real light. The cherubim spits him out. The cherubim takes his soul, doesn't take his soul, but it wipes his soul clean, meaning that when we die and our soul leaves the body, the cherubim's function is to wipe clean our soul from memory. So we have to start the journey over again, over and over and over again. We go towards the false light. The cherubim takes the memory from us, take our memory, sends us back to earth in a different body, and we only have one lifetime to rise up, and that's not enough to do the work. We have to overcome this cherubim, this memory wipe, to continue the work through many lifetimes. And if that would be the case, we would see through the illusion sooner or later, and we would overcome the machine. We would overcome the Elohim, the demiurgic cherubim machine of his farming idea. Yeah, next slide. So if we go to Egypt, you have the pharaohs and the Egyptian religion, and that's the Egyptian religion. Now I talk about like 3000 BC, right? They have many gods, and once again, some of these gods are infiltrators, some are gods that can give you power, memory. Some of these gods is gods who want you to overcome the demiurgic machine, but some of them is also infiltration. So you have to discern what gods are the good ones, or what do you want to achieve? What do you believe in? What is your purpose? Osiris, for example. Osiris is there as the demiurge Elohim god, to keep you in the illusion that everything is as it should be. So here, once again, they have distorted the truth. They want you to believe that Osiris is the good god and that Set is the evil one. He is the darkness. Osiris is god of stability, to live and die under the sun. Don't rebel. Next slide. So your goal is, from a left-hand path perspective, to be eternally alive, to program your soul in stars of memory. If Aldebaran Pleiades is the false heaven, you should turn to Osiris and program your soul with memory from this lifetime to do some profound work that will sip into a deeper strata of memory in water, in mem within you, to program your DNA to remember what you have done here. Then you need to live a profound life and to do some profound metaphysical work, and maybe leave something behind from your previous life for you to pick up on. There is a reason why the pharaohs was mummified, why they left relics or talismanic material stuff behind. To remember your previous reincarnation means that you can continue your work. And now you start to rise up. And now you start to see through the illusion. One lifetime is not enough to expose the illusion. You have to continue your journey. So you have an aim. To program your soul in stars of memory means that you take aim at another fixed star and program that aim with some meaning, power, metaphysical work, and give it meaning. You have to give your soul meaning for your existence in your body. When you face the cherubim, you have to face it with power, indifference. You cannot fall for the false light of the demiurge. Next slide. When you start to come back and you have some memory, doesn't mean that when you're born you remember everything. We have to, grow up. When you come back here, it's very important that you learn how to handle matter first. So you will forget, but you will start to pick up clues that you are different, that you have done something, or that you are an old soul, or that the purpose they try to tell you is like be a good citizen, study, having kids, and then die feels meaningless for you. Therefore, you start to search for a higher truth. And many times it's because you have programmed your soul with some memory in previous life. Now you start to search for a higher meaning, and you get back to where you finished the last time around. And this start to program your blood, your DNA, with a trajectory, like an aim. And if you have that very fixed in your mind, in your soul, you start to create a sangreal, or a bloodline, or a holy bloodline, because it's not about a family as such. Now I'm not talking about the elite now, right? I'm talking about you, because you start to find similar minded people in this lifetime, and you start to create your own sangreal, because you have the same idea what you want to achieve. So you help each other to program your soul in this memory. To program your soul in stars of memory together creates a sangreal, a family line. And that is something that the demiurge doesn't like at all. And Arthur bloodline was such a bloodline. And I think it comes from the Christ bloodline, not the flip-flop, phony baloney Jesus, but the real one. Not the one who they had tried to convince you of, but the real deal. The aim is, of course, to return and continue what you did in previous life. And now you can start to have long-term goals together, and you can support and help each other because you have created the sangreal. Next slide. So the heaven is closed. Reincarnation without memory is his premise. You are wiped clean. If you aim for heaven, if you aim for Aldebaran and the Pleiades, And if you are into the New Age movement, another false light, right? They convince you that that's the purpose of your life, to aim for Aldebaran, aim for light, to be one with the light. They are with the light. They are the Christ himself forever. Yeah, nonsense they are talking about. It's just another trap, of course. Next slide. The honey and the bee. So, yeah, next slide. The naiads or nymph are weaving webs of purple hue, the tissues from which the bodies of incarnation soul will be constituted. The busy bees are the souls drawn towards incarnation by the desire for honey delicious, the pull of material satisfaction. The gate of the sun allows the soul into and out of incarnation. The path to the north, the gate of Cancer ruled by the moon, is pervious to mankind. In other words, it only allows soul to enter incarnation. But the gate to the south, that of Capricorn ruled by Saturn, to immortals is consigned. That is to say, provides the path of ascent open to the immortal soul after leaving its body. You have a reincarnation machine put together in our solar system. It goes from Saturn to the moon, and our sun is included in that reincarnation machine. When you come back, if you don't do any work, you are wiped clean from memory and you have to start all over again. On the south north pole of Saturn, you have an hexagon-shaped storm, and it's there for a purpose. It's not a natural shape. And that shape is a shape of a honeycomb, six-sided hexagon or hexa. The moon's number is 9, and then you have a six-sided hexa. 9 plus 6 is 15, and that's the devil in the tarot card deck. You have to see through the devil. You have to see past him. Because the devil, the Satan, and the Jehovah Elohim is the same side on the same, no, different sides on the same coin. You have something called Soma, the Soma of the gods. And of course, this is about Soma. This is about the nectar of the gods, because you are their farm. You are their source of energy. Of course, they want you to come back here without any memory, without any power. And you become their food source forever. That fuels up the demiurgic machine with your honey. They don't want you to leave. And if they can put up false heaven or a matrix within the matrix, they will do it. If they can trap you to either never come back, if you are a metaphysical warrior, then you will not be able to help the ones who are trapped here. You will disappear and go away, and the farm continues. Next slide. So here you have the reincarnation machine. The Neoplatonists thought that when you came back, you go through all the planets in the solar system, from Saturn to the Earth, and through this journey you get like gifts. Your soul is given different gift attributes from these planets. And when you're finally clothed within your body, you have these gifts from these planets with you. And the last planet, or the last moon, the last node is of course the moon, before you come back into your body from the reincarnation circle. So the moon is the last body you go through on your journey back into matter. Therefore, the moon is a very important node in this demiurgic machine. Next slide. The cosmological model that we have outlined provided the symbolic mapping of a path of return back through the planetary spheres to the eighth sphere of the fixed stars and the realm of the immortals, a path that could be charted in this life through a process called theurgy ascent. But for the vast majority of initiates, the path was one that they only expected to navigate post-mortem. This reincarnation trap is a very vast system. It takes time to see through it. And you have an elite on this planet who have decided to align themselves with the demiurgic machine instead, meaning doing its bidding here in matter. What they try to do is convince you that you're an animal, that you are nothing more than a wild animal that should be controlled, put to sleep, used and abused, produce children, die and come back, give us more energy, give us more food, put more animals on the farm. When you have seen through that lie, your journey starts. You have become the fool in the major arcana, right? The awakened fool. Next slide. Honeymoon. I've done some censoring of the picture. I hope it's okay. Yes, so you are the source, you are the honey, you are the energy source for the gods, and you are the energy source for the demiurge. This is the farm, and they want to keep you here forever. That's the goal. And Gilgamesh thought through this, but he made a wrong choice. No one understood it. He took the opportunity to go back to heaven instead. But we will follow another hero on this journey very soon from the Mahabharata epic. And in that epic, we will have another hero, another kind of a hero who are into the left-hand path instead. So we will follow his decision. Yeah, next slide. So when the moon was newly built, they took an asteroid from the asteroid belt after the destruction of Tiamat. They hollowed that asteroid out. The moon is just a hollow asteroid put in place to be part of this machine, this soul harvesting machine. This is their Mordor, right? This is the real Mordor, and full of technology and machines. Is hollowed out, and so it's not a natural body. It comes from an asteroid, but it's more like a machine. And this is the last mainframe you have to. This is the last mainframe you pass on your way back to reincarnation to Earth, wiped clean from memory, and harvested, of course, of the energy you have produced during your life. And this is when the moon was newly produced a couple of 100,000 years ago. And of course, on the surface, you will not see the surface because it's like a fog, an illusion they put together there for you. They don't want you to see the real, how the moon is really looking, what it looks like from Earth. You had this character, this person, Bruce Seasaw. He had this channel in Film Moon. And of course, he died when he was 49 years old. But his channel is still up on YouTube if you want to see He cannot film the surface of the moon. That's not possible. But you can see there are stuff there moving around, and there are machines there, whatever. So if you want to see some of it, you can go into his channel. Bruce Sees All, as Bruce sees everything. Yeah, next slide. The Muse and the Water Lily. A lot of naked ladies here. Sorry about that, ladies. Next slide. So we have the movie, and I talked about it a lot of times, but the good thing with the movies is that you can allow it to go into your soul. You feel something when you see these movies. And in the movie Dark City, it's a war of a memory. And you have an alien race or whatever they are, try to figure out what the human soul is all about. And they have like a laboratory zoo in space. So the Muses endow the adept with the powers of remembrance and reminiscence of magical radiations encountered upon the journey of the soul. So this movie is, of course, about the Muses, art, creativity, the human spark. And these beings in the movie Dark City have lost their spark. And that is very close to the truth when we come to the Elohim, when we come to our cousins. So I think it is also they want to study and examine us because we can go further than them through our spark, with our spark and with our soul. They had to rely on the technology. That's the reason why you see, one of the reasons why you see technology like CERN, for example, or technology from Atlantis times, that they would try to pierce the veil to measure the deep, how far out the demiurgic prison goes. You don't have to rely on technology. As long as you have your soul, your spark intact within you, you can do this journey, but you have to see through all the illusions. And if you lose your emotions, your spark, your feelings, then you also lose sight of the road. It will be closed for you. And of course, that's another agenda from the elite to take that soul spark from you. At least from the masses. I'm sure that they might keep some people intact to examine, evaluate, and try to figure out what it is all about as well. So please don't take it as a black or white. Next slide. The journey of the soul. Muses were the powers of remembrance and reminiscence of knowledge previously enjoyed by the soul in past births. The magical function of remembering enables adept to witness the tidal magical radiation which lie behind the glamour, lila and maya, the shadow division or veiling of cosmic consciousness in nature. The remembering process also alludes to the Isis-Osiris Horus myth, whereby the remembering of Osiris into Horus is an allegory of the mind of the adept, awakening to the auric field of the cosmic archetypal memory, where the adept is able to see things as they really are. And I would say you have to see beyond Osiris and Horus as well. Your journey starts there, but it is not the end. But you have Isis in there as well, and Isis is serious. So if you remember Isis, Osiris, and Horus, and the deep mythology behind that myth, you will start to have a grasp on what's going on. But don't forget Isis in that mix. And of course, there's a reason why the Abrahamic religion is like aimed at women and so on, because we need the feminine as well. We are here together for a reason. But Osiris is the masculine solar god. And when we talk about Horus, you have to talk about the right Horus, not the docile Horus doing Osiris' bidding, but the Horus, the avenger, or the new Horus. And you have to keep Isis in mind as well, so you don't go astray. Osiris is like the one who reboots the matrix into an even harder matrix to penetrate. When the rebellion is over, they examine the rebellion and examine the rebellious glitch in the matrix and create an even harder matrix to penetrate through that glitch and through that understanding of that rebellion. Osiris is the one who starts it all over again with an even harder prison to penetrate after the examination of the failure. That's his role. That's the reason why Seth cuts him up in 14 pieces. Next slide. We have another movie, Equilibrium, and the movie Equilibrium is all about memory once again. It's all about emotions, feelings. They want to take away or destroy all art, all science, all art, science, magic, memory, power, and of course they use science themselves, but for a negative purpose in order to control you. But art can give rise to real science that are integrated with magic. And art can stimulate the memory within you to awaken, like K. Phil Dick, for example, the scientist novels. There is a lot of truth in them. It can start to awaken something within you. And that is dangerous. In this movie, Equilibrium, they try to destroy all art because it can create emotions. In the end, it's about memory, right? Because after a couple of generations, humanity will forget what they were and take it as a given that art and emotions are dangerous. And this leads us back to Enki, leads us back to power and Enki. And Enki is supposed to be this evil god, of course, and Enlil is the good one. And Enki is the evil god, is the devil in disguise, you can call him if you want to. Next slide. You have something I call the boatman, and the boatman is someone who wants to go from matter into the metaphysical, to travel out into memory, feelings, and to take back everything they've taken from you. You have understood that this is a farm and that there is something more on the other side. And this more is in the metaphysical, not in matter. Therefore, you have to be a metaphysical warrior, a boatman, to penetrate the illusion. Then you need, of course, sulfur, fire, and you will walk on water with the sun in behind you, but you cannot be mesmerized by the light. You have to walk steady and understand the light, understand what the sun is. But your goal is not to walk on water forever towards the sunset. No, your goal is to sink into the water, into the darkness. Then you need Mercury to connect your mind to your heart. And Mercury is something that is fluid. You have to understand when to use your mind and when to use your heart. And that this connection, you need this correct connection. Otherwise, you will fail. You cannot do it from heart alone. You need your mind, logic thinking, rational thinking. Otherwise, you will be fooled once again and you will go astray. There are many fools, many traps on the way. You cannot only rely on your emotion, intuition. You need to have a mind sharp as a sword as well. This path leads you to Enki, or Poseidon, the water, and to Sirius. When we have Tiamat in the solar system, you had a natural connection between Tiamat and Sirius. But that gateway was shattered when they destroyed the planet Tiamat. So you have water, memory, science, magic, and art, emotions, heart, spark, soul, your gold in memory of time and space to be transformed. But you have to take the lead from underneath the surface of the water and bring it up and transform it into gold. Next slide. So the cosmic sailor. So let's take this trip together then. Let us become the boatman for a moment. Let us see through this game. Let's understand the rules of this game and what it's all about. So let's go on board on this boat with me for a moment. I'm not saying that you cannot leave. You can. But for now, I want you to just relax and enjoy the ride. Next slide. We understand when we enter the boat that Noah was a boatman, but he was a failure. He was a flawed boatman. Only because you have started to see through the illusion, only because you have started to become a boatman, doesn't mean that you will make the right decisions. It is like a labyrinth on the other side. And you have to penetrate all the illusion, or they will trap you once again. The boatman can be led astray. They can sink your boat. They will come after you. When you penetrate the illusion, the veil, they seize you. Sauron's eyes will be fixed on you. I'm not saying that because I read a lot of books. It's because I've done the journey myself. I'm not finished, absolutely not. I've lost a lot to work for. But I know that when you go over to the metaphysical, their eyes start to be fixed on you. Noah was such a man, but was a boatman, but he failed. And that's a very important lesson here. And Gilgamesh saw Noah's failure, how the Demiurge manipulate him to go to heaven, and as a reward for him selling out his own kind, the Nephilim. He gave them access to the remaining or surviving Nephilims after the flood. If you read the Bible, you will see this yourself. It's not me telling you that. It's in the Bible. Next slide. This digital chess game of 64 squares. Number 64 is the number of this prison, this demiurgic prison. I don't consider the matter as a prison, but it is what it has become. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can take it back. But we cannot be pawns in this game. And we have to understand the rules of these games. And it all starts with your understanding that it is made up of the number 64. It's a digital illusion. But you can go over to the other side if you become the boatman. That's your gift as long as you have your soul, your spark intact. You can go from 64 into the metaphysical. Leave the material plane. That's the first step to freedom. But as I said, there are many traps on the other side, and you have to navigate this other side. There are kings and queens in these games. There are wardens there to convince you that this journey is futile and your resistance leads to nothing. There are horses there who will attack you. You need to tread this water very carefully and with wisdom and with the right attitude. But make no bones about it, this is a very serious game. This is the most serious game you will ever play, if you ever start to play it. Most humans doesn't understand that this is a game. This is the rules. They don't understand the rule, therefore they cannot even start to play it. When you start to understand the game, other obstacles, other problems will come at you. Next slide. So the number 64 is not only the game of chess is made up of 64 squares, and there is a purpose for it. This is the number that animates our illusion. When you're playing a game of chess, you are playing in matter. This is a digital game. There's nothing wrong with it. It sharpens your mind, but your goal is to go over to the other side. Next slide. This is the rules of the game. In order for you to be able to become a boatman, you have to start to go to your gym, to your temple. You have to do some work, some serious work. You have to be disciplined, and you will be met with distractions. You will be met with all the attention you have to give to the material world just to survive, to work, to family, and all of that. It's very easy to get sidetracked. You need to be focused. You need to put together your gym, your temple, and you have to go to your temple as you go to your physical gym to train your body. It had to be almost a daily practice. 15 minutes is enough. Between 15 and 30 minutes is enough each day, but that is hard enough for most people. To do some Kundalini chakra work, or not some, but a lot of it. But understand that even the Kundalini chakra method is also infiltrated some. You have to understand that to ignite your 7 main chakras is not the end goal, but to reach all the 11 chakras. So you have to see through all the illusions. You have to sharpen your methods. You have to go to your gym. You have to practice. Some people have some skills handed to them when they are born, like the gift, soul travel, and so on. That's fine, but you still have to go to the gym. Next slide. In the end, when you understand the rules, you will also understand. If you understand all the rules, you will also understand that you have to break the rules to finally be free. You have to see through the game, and then you have to break the rules and not play don't play the game anymore on their turn. You have to turn the game against them. And this is the hardest part of the journey, of course. Next slide. K-Field Dick talk about this Valis. And I think K-Field Dick had some insights or downloads, because he is very close to the truth. And I think this artists have some profound insights through the artistic genius, artistic side of themselves. But they don't know what to do with it. They have their insights, but they don't know where to start. Therefore, they never start to play the game, even though they can see something beyond it. Beyond the material plane, beyond the 64 squares. But they cannot do anything about it because they don't know where to start. But we know where to start today, because we have put these methods together after hundreds of years. Next slide. So you are a function made flesh when you come back. And you have to decide how to spend your life. And that decision is the most important decision you will ever make. You have to decide if you are something more than they try to convince you that you are. You have to decide that you want to see through all the illusions. You have to decide to start all over again and understand that they haven't fooled you sometimes, but they have fooled you all the times. Now you can start to play the game. But before you go into the game, understand the rules of the game, or at least some of the rules of the game. Next slide. When you start to understand the game, and when you start to play it on a metaphysical level, you will start to become a children of eternity, because now you are walking somewhere. You have an aim, a trajectory that spans over many lifetimes. Next slide. After the war in heaven, they created this matrix we are in now, and it became even a harder matrix to penetrate. Every time a rebellion failed, they examine that glitch and make it even harder for you to escape. Atlantis was an end of such a matrix that was much easier to penetrate. When they put that rebellion down, they examine that glitches and they rebuild the matrix into the one we are living in now. Next slide. In the Mahabharata, we read that we have two factions who wage war against each other. You have the Kuravas. The Kurava is a Sanskrit term which refers to the descendant of Kuru, a legendary king of India. The Kuravas, in their magnificent, unyielding pride, achieved a dark victory. They choose annihilation over submission, and in the final breath, their wills remain their own. They lost the world, but did not surrender their soul. Next slide. And then you have the Pandavas. The Pandavas, a group name referring to the 5 legendary brothers, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva. In the end, the Pandavas did not win a kingdom. They inherit a graveyard. They sit on a throne of bones, crowned with guilt, their wills finally broken, and reshackled to the very cosmic cage they bled the world to escape. Their victory is the final and most perfect damnation. The blood has dried, the ashes are cold, the new age of Shane has begun. Because when this rebellion was put down, the matrix became even harder to penetrate. And this is exactly what happened in the end of the Matrix trilogy, when Neo surrenders to the Demiurge and Matrix, meaning they make the Matrix even harder to penetrate through the examination of the rebellious spark Neo brought in to the game. But what about Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata? And let us follow Yudhishthira and see what happens in the end of the epic of Mahabharata. Next slide. So this is from the Vama Marg perspective. A grimoire of sovereign will. So after the war, next slide. I have to go through some terms here. You have the term, the phenomena called dharma, the cosmic cage of dharma. Dharma is a universal principle of order that maintains the universe as sustains life, including truth and righteousness. Order is a cage built of perception. To become a god, you must first lose the world, for only in total ruin is the will forced free of its cage and its laws. The Sabha Parva is a ritual of dissolution, demonstrating that reality is a construct of perception and will. The assembly hall is an alchemical chamber where the illusion of dharma is systematically burned away to reveal the primordial chaos upon which sovereign power is truly built. Next slide. The final transgression. Having been welcomed into heaven in his mortal form, Yudhishthira is shocked to find Duryodhana enthroned in glory, while his own brother and Draupadi are nowhere to be seen. Of course, I have to remind you of Noah here. Noah comes into heaven. No, sorry, the Gilgamesh comes into heaven and sees Noah there. In this epic tale, the Mahabharata, Yudhishthira comes into heaven. He sees Duryodhana enthroned in glory in heaven, while his own brothers and Draupadi are nowhere to be seen. What's going on here? Next slide. Yudhishthira, the confrontation with Indra at Heaven's Gate, is the ultimate test of sovereignty. Indra presents the final rule of the cosmic cage: no dogs allowed. Because Yudhishthira have a dog with him, the last companion, the most loyal friend when all the others have failed him. The dog is a finest transgression. The confrontation with Indra at Heaven's Gate is the ultimate test. Indra presents the final rule of the cosmic cage: no dogs allowed. This is the law of established divine order. To conquer heaven, you must first be willing to abandon it. The final gate opens only for the will that is loyal to nothing but its own law, even when a god stands as the gatekeeper. Next slide. No dogs allowed. And of course, a dog is also a symbol for Sirius. I want to remind you of that. This story has many, many layers. Yudhishthira refuses to enter without his family, and most shockingly, without the dog. Indra scoffs at the notion of a dog entering heaven, but Yudhishthira remains firm, stating he will not abandon a creature that has been loyal to him. It's exactly opposite of Noah. It is a declaration that his will is superior to the laws of heaven. This is not compassion. It is the ultimate assertion of the sovereign self. Next slide. Yudhishthira's refusal is his most profound transgressive act. He rejects paradise itself in favor of his own self-defined code of loyalty. Having passed the ultimate trial of righteousness, Yudhishthira goes to hell. The ultimate expression of sovereign power is not to create, but to have the will to destroy your own creations when they have served their purpose. To be a true God is to be willing to burn your own heaven to the ground. Next slide. A true God, man will know Eden, but he will know hell first through the course of his evolution. That's a statement from Hecate. The sealed gates which leads to Atlantis are concealed from the eyes of all but they who have devoted themselves to the great work of the Qliphothic realm, mastering the path of darkness and light. Through the great dark star, which lead to Edom and Eden. It is in this Edom, the Atlantean realm, the gods are born. Meaning you have to be willing to go to hell if you want to be truly free, because the light is bent, is false. Same way, the same reason why Camelot means bent light, and that Arthur had to bend that light, not to be manipulated by or fooled by the light, but to remain in darkness. Doesn't mean that you have to suffer all the time. It means that you have to understand that this darkness is something you have to work with and through. In the Matrix, you have the allegory with the pills, and Neo is presented with the red and the blue pill. Now, this is a trap as well, because it should be the blue pill that awakens him, for the simple reason that the throat chakra, the Vishuddha, is pale blue, and that chakra leads you to the other side of the tree. Now, if you uphold the idea that the red pill is the one who gave him access to the illusion, then at least you should be presented with the pills once again in heaven. Choose between the red and the blue pill again, and then he goes for the blue pill to really awaken. But he do not do that. He don't get that option. Instead, he surrenders to the Demiurge, and they just reboot the Matrix in the third movie and make it into an even harder Matrix this time, through the examination of his rebellious spark. In the movie, you will see the number 303. I will not tell you where, but if you see the movie again, you will see 2 times, I think. This character Cypher turns on them. He's like the Noah character, or the real Noah. But Cypher is the Noah character, because he doesn't like the food and so on in hell. But that is exactly where you have to push through or pull through. But he gives up. Next slide. The final shattering of the cosmic illusion. A divine messenger leads him on a full journey, Yudhishthira, in the horrific vision of hell, filled with torment, blood, and the stench of decay. There he hears the anguished voice of his brothers, Draupadi and Karna, who plead for him to stay, as his presence brings them relief from their suffering. Overcoming his revulsion, Yudhishthira chooses to remain in hell with his loved ones rather than enjoy heaven alone. At the moment of his decision, the illusion of hell vanishes. Yudhishthira is presented with ultimate false dichotomy, a sterile heaven or a suffering hell. He transgresses by rejecting the divine reward and choosing the truth of his own experience. This act of sovereign will does not earn him paradise. It collapses the duality, revealing the true unified state beyond the gods' simplistic laws of sin and virtue. Next slide. So you have to take aim for series to encode your DNA with memory. On that path, you have to go through darkness. It's not an easy journey, but you will see a more real light than the false light from Aldebaran Pleiades. Next slide. So the last slides here, and this is where gods are born. And it is here gods are born, because you are that god, if you choose to, or work for. Next slide. Absolute power. The ultimate prize of the war was not a throne, but apotheosis. Only those who were willing to become gods or demons had any right to fight it. The greatest blasphemy against the gods is not defiance, but the act of becoming a god yourself without their permission. Next slide. And this is the end of this journey for this time. And this is the first presentation out of 3, if Miguel still wants me on here. And I see I've passed 2 hours here. But I hope you have enjoyed it despite the Archon tech attacks. Next slide. And we have part 2, the Hang God Matrix. Because we have hanged the real gods and we pray to the false ones. And in part 3, I will talk about the end of the world as we know it. But this is the end for now.
Wonderful. That was great. No, we definitely got to do part 3. You can't miss the end of the world, can we? It would be kind of rude.
It will be part 2, Miguel, because we had to split up part 1 into 2. So it will be the Hang God Matrix next time.
Oh, so this will be part 2. Okay, yeah. Got it. No problem. So the end of the world. Yeah, that's fine. Yes. No, great presentation. I was wondering, Vance, if you could go back to the slides with the scantily clad ladies. I couldn't read some of the text. That's the only reason.
Oh, you missed that? Oh, let's see.
We took just for research purpose. No, just kidding.
Miguel wants to go back to the honeymoon, I think.
Yeah. But no, great presentation as always. People have really enjoyed it in the chat. What do you think, Vance?
Oh, it was great. No, very, very well done. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I saw a couple of things. You know, there was a reference there with the bull, and that I was thinking about Mithras, the Mithraic, right? Because there were the stars and all that stuff, and Mithras, the slaughtering of the bull, is exactly in line with what you're saying.
Absolutely, and I will talk about the next presentation. So I will go deeper into the details of it there, and I will decode the symbology behind that act, because it is exactly what Vance said here. It is about this slaying of the path to Aldebaran and take a different route, take a different turn.
Yeah, for sure.
To slay the cherubim machine and to overcome the reincarnation trap and to choose another path.
That made a lot of sense to me too. The cherubim is the machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that too. Of course, when you bring up Dark City, that's always such a slam dunk, because that's more of a documentary we can all use.
It is.
As some people mentioned, of course, you know, the 13th Floor is another underrated film.
Yeah,
because it's not just a simulation, but a simulation within a simulation.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that movie a lot, actually. I highly recommend that one as well. The 13th Floor, Dark City. It was a period there.
The late 90s, Fight Club, The Matrix.
Great period.
So many. Whew.
Yeah.
Just the Truman Show, of course. All these
exactly.
warning Gnostic movies about the millennium. And, well, they were right, because the 21st century hasn't been very good, guys. I think we can all agree on that one.
And in the Truman Show movie, you have this series, this spotlight falling down from heaven, and it's a series on it. So it's a sign.
Right. You're right. So I see one super chat, and again, really appreciate it. Rohit Nadu would love a podcast with David Block and Jason Reza Georgiani. Wow, that would be something else. That would be explosive. I know Jason and I were meant to do a podcast, but then he got swept away with all this research and other things that were happening, and I had my issues in August. So we're going to try to regroup and get Jason on in the fall. So, yeah, it would be nice to have Jason and David, although we need like 6 hours of that. So, but let's see what the universe has. And yeah, again, really appreciate your support as always. Yeah, that's it. Anything else, fans, from you, or you guys have any questions or over there in the chat? God, where's the chat? There it is. Okay, lost the chat.
One thing that was fascinating to me is the number 64. Many people know that our current computer architectures, for personal computers, is 64-bit architecture. So I wonder. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Connection there.
The Beatles
sang
32. About it. The Beatles sang about it.
I'm 64.
Paul. Yeah. Whatever, the new Paul, the replacement Paul. So
I think there are about 50 Pauls, and they switch them out.
Yeah, Citadel of Pauls too, right? I still watch Rick and Morty. I know people have given up after season 3 or 4, but I still like to watch one here and there. Still decent stuff.
You should start making them. That would help. This last season's not too bad.
Yeah. Somebody saying
they're up to season 8, right?
Yeah, that's the one I'm just catching up because it just got into HBO.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Any plans to have Amon Hillman? He's the one. He's got a big following, a big impact on the internet with some sizzling ideas. I have invited him. The problem is that Graham and Amon Hillman had a lot of arguments a few years ago, so he won't come on the show. And I disagree. Just because they got in a fight doesn't mean, we'd be very friendly to him here, but no, he won't come on the show, unfortunately. But perhaps he will change his mind. He's the one
that's big thing.
That Jesus was part of a drug-taking cult, and there was another kind of controversial thing. So very interesting. I love his work on the classics and Medea and all that. So
it's some good stuff there for sure. I agree with him on everything, but to disagree doesn't mean that you cannot, have a discussion.
Yeah. I mean, here we welcome everybody. Thanks again for the super chat.
How much is 100 squigglies?
I don't know. I don't know, but any support we appreciate. Yes, I won't say the word, but that's also Amon Hill's work about Jesus. I don't want to say the word because of the algorithm. And we will definitely have David probably in November, early November, the cold winds of November, if you're on this hemisphere. And we'll get to part 2.5 or whatever, part 3 or 4, whatever. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. So, So, but we are at the end. And Vance, as always, thanks for keeping us company.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Always great to see David here. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, it was always, a pleasure to be with you, and as always, looking forward to be with you again and your audience, of course.
Thanks, David. Yes, and don't forget again, David has his courses, Tarot, Left Hand Path. Check out the show notes, regardless where you're watching this, and check out his website again. Consider joining the Virtual Alexandria Academy for the Dragon Gnostics and a whole bunch of other courses that tie into this. And support AM Byte in any way you can. Oh, there's Graham. I'm nice to everyone. I just might not agree with them. Yes, Graham is always a gentleman, no matter who he disagrees with. But we shall see.
Absolutely.
But as always, thanks for everybody for coming here, for being here, for listening, for supporting AM Byte. Keep writing your own gospel, living your own myth, or the Demiurge will find a ghostwriter to do that, and keep running with those searching for the truth and avoiding those who have found it. No, as they say, the Gnostics were the generation without a king. Other than that, everybody, have a good weekend, and we shall talk soon. Take care, everybody.